Hey everybody, I'm Jack Rita with Future Pastimes. I'm a game designer for Dune-themed board games, among other things, including Arrakis, Dawn of the Fremen, Dune Conquest, and expansions for the classic Dune board game, the 2019 edition from Gale Force 9. And in this video, I want to talk about Dune Part 2, the movie that's coming out, and in particular about Lady Margot Fenring and how she's going to be leveraged in that movie. So it was announced quite some time back that Léa Seydoux was going to be playing Lady Margot, so they kind of made a big deal out of it. She's kind of well known. She was in a couple of James Bond movies, so a fairly big name actress in a relatively small role in the terms of the book. So I'm going to talk a little bit about stuff that's in the book. It would definitely be considered spoiler territory, so you are warned. So I'm curious because they've not announced any casting for Count Fenring. We don't really know if Count Fenring is going to be a character in the movie at all. But the one real big scene that Lady Margot has in the book is when she and her husband, Count Fenring, go to Gedi Prime at the behest of the Emperor to kind of deal with the Baron. But Lady Margot was also there in a capacity as a Bene Gesserit sister, and she has her own motivations and her own mission that it's not clear if Count Fenring is really privy to that, almost certainly the Emperor not. So yes, her Bene Gesserit mission had to do with Fade and getting a sample from him so that they could continue their genetics program, their bloodline manipulation, trying to develop Kwisatz Haderach. And their estimation was that Fade, if bred to an Atreides daughter, which is what Jessica was supposed to have, would very likely have resulted in the Kwisatz Haderach. That's how close they felt that super being was, that they, of course, hoped to control. And Lady Margot does get a sample from Fade Rotha, and it looks like from the trailers that there's going to be some kind of scene with a similar context to it. The other thing that she does, though, in that scene is she does a little prana bindu post-hypnotic suggestion, which allows for a trigger word to be able to control Fade or to stun him or put him under some sort of susceptible state, which that information is slipped to Paul, who knows that he can leverage it when he's dueling Fade, but chooses not to. So the other thing, of course, is the Count Fenring is, while this is going on between Lady Margot and Fade, Count Fenring is talking to the Baron about their deal with the Emperor helping out the Baron to remove the Atreides from the board completely, and letting the Baron kind of know in no uncertain terms that the Emperor has got his number, and Count Fenring is a bit of a scheming, manipulative character in his own right, and so yeah, it leaves the Baron uneasy at the end of their meeting. But in the movie, what's going to be the point? Why is Lady Margot going to Gedi Prime? What is the ostensible reason for her visit? She's there to see the arena match between Fade and whoever, and but we know that she's going to visit with Fade presumably afterward, but we don't know how much she's interacting with the Baron, and again, we don't really know. So that's one of the things I think I'm most curious. It is such a minor element in the book, and I think a lot of elements like that have been glossed over, I think, a lot in the Villeneuve movie. Don't get me wrong, I love Dune Part 1, and I know that I'm going to love Dune Part 2, But like any Dune superfan, there were a lot of elements to the book that were not included. Some were even filmed, but not included. Some probably weren't filmed at all. So it's a shame to miss out on some of those things. I've been pretty public with my disappointment in the whole Atreides leadership, knowing that there's a traitor because Shout Out Mapes gives them that information after Paul saves her life. But that whole element was dropped, and that was, I think, the one thing I missed the most. I've talked a lot about in other videos missing out on the banquet scene, and that's all fine and good. I did miss it, but I can understand it not being included. But the whole traitor thing is something that I'm certainly going to miss, and I've gone off on the path here with the Lady Margot thing. But yeah, that bugged me, and so. I'm not sure. It's hard to predict where they're going to go with the Lady Margot scene, and if that's going to be the only scene. I think it's easy to imagine that she is being sent there, maybe at the direction of Reverend Mother Mohayim, and it is related to their Kwisatz Haderach breeding program. But you know, traveling to another planet is not a cheap proposition. So it's not like, yeah, I'll just bust on a Highliner and get on over there. It, you know, having it under the guise of a diplomatic mission or some sort of, you know, important exchange at the direction of the Emperor would make more sense. That's why it does make a lot of sense in the book that she can do this side mission because she's already going to be there accompanying her husband. So, yeah, I'm curious. So let me know your thoughts. If you're a Dune aficionado, as I like to think I am, what are your thoughts? What are your predictions in terms of how Lady Margot is going to be leveraged in this movie? And how much of those two subplot areas are they going to lean into and explore? Do we think that there is going to be a Count Fenring? You know, it gives the Emperor rather somebody to talk to. I know he can confide a little bit into Irulan, but that relationship between the Emperor and Fenring is interesting. It's definitely explored a lot in the extended universe novels. They are two peas in a pod. They're scheming about everything. Fenring is the eyes and ears of the Emperor. So love those books or hate those books. It definitely gives you more fodder to explore and to get a better understanding of what that relationship would be like. It's very much how I imagined it before those books were written. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.